Welcome to the Real Estate Practice Podcast, the show that helps you know what to say when you're talking to buyers and sellers so that you can close more deals and earn more money. I'm Darren Tunstall, a real estate professional, coach, and #1 best-selling author. Let's get into this. As a reminder, the purpose of Scripts and Dialogues is to come, learn, practice, and be prepared to fail forward. This is where we make mistakes and help each other out, but we're mostly interested in seeing how we can get better. First, we read through the script word for word, and then we go back and put it into our own natural tone, style, and phrasing. You won't know what to say until you go through the script. So, with that said, many people will say, "That's not how I sound," and I totally get it. That's not how you sound. But that is the reason why we practice every day, so that the script becomes you and in your own voice. So read it word for word first, then go back and put it into your own natural tone, style, and phrasing, and I think it'll work out.
Before I write the offer, I call the agent, and one of my main questions to them is, other than money, what's important to your seller? What do they need? How can we make this a good deal for them? That way you learn, all kinds of things, that maybe you wouldn't have learned otherwise. And then you can draft an offer that addresses some of those key things. And of course you're going to talk money, but there are things other than money.
Yeah. And that's a fantastic takeaway dialogue. It's called a takeaway. And when somebody objects, like there's typically a lot of objections around a compensation. Like when they ask you about your compensation, other than my compensation, other than money, and you just keep on you take one away, you deal with it. What's next? Take it away, deal with it. What's next? I'm curious. We were just talking about dealing with certain things that come up, whether it's about mainly around negotiations, using a takeaway. So, for example, if you're negotiating a deal and they have a question about money, has anybody ever done that, what we just ended on? Like, hey, other than the money, or, other than selling by yourself, because that's the topic today, what else is going on? Has anybody ever used that particular line?
hmm
How did it go for you? What can you describe it, or do you remember how it went?
Uh, yeah, I think we were talking about terms, and I said, okay, besides this one main point, what else? Um, but they didn't really go with it too much. They didn't want to say, was really what it was. Yeah, they didn't want to say. So
Did you ever figure out what it was? Whatever it is.
yeah, there were a few things that they were asking for that we just couldn't do, or the clients couldn't do. So yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's good.
it's a good line. Yeah, it's a good line.
Yeah. And today we are talking about for sale by owners. FSBO. It's called FSBO Engagement and Benefits Discussion. First thing I want to say here is when you're talking to your contact, your client, don't call them a FSBO, right? We don't want to call people names. They don't know what a FSBO is. That's industry jargon. It's for sale by owner. Hey, I understand that you're selling your home by yourself. I understand that you're a FSBO. That's a little weird, right? Don't you think?
Yeah, it is.
All right, let's go ahead and set this up. In this scenario, you approach a homeowner selling their property as a for sale by owner. You aim to understand their plans, timeline, and reasons for selling on their own while beginning a friendly, helpful conversation. The intention is to build trust, share insights about the selling process, and invite the homeowner to meet and explore how working with you could make their sale easier and more successful. And I want to open this up before we break out to a conversation that we had yesterday. My wife and I had to go to a retirement planning thing because it's getting near for her and her job. And we met with the guy that specializes in federal employees. And it's interesting sitting down with him. It was absolutely no pressure. and he did not try to sell anything. All he wanted to do was be very, 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 very informative and very, 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 very educational. And the reason why I bring this up is because admittedly, I was like, all right, well, what are we going to expect, right? I'm thinking about other financial planners that I really want to talk to. But after the meeting, I walked away with like, wow, what a wealth of knowledge, and how I would love to work with this man in the future and his business. And that's just how he did it. And I think this type of dialogue today is really coming from a very informative, educational approach, because you have someone who thinks that they can do it on their own, and they might be able to, right? Some have done it on their own that you might approach in the future. And I just wanted to say that this is going to give a little bit of a pushback, but if we come from that perspective, I think people just let their guards down and just want to work with you because wow, you're just so awesome and educational, and you just care about me that much. And that's how I felt when we walked away from that conversation yesterday. So keep that in mind as we practice today's dialogue. I think it's a good approach. Sound good? Sarah,
Hi,
what's going on, Sarah?
good. Ready to practice?
Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. You'll be the agent. I will be your FSBO.
Okay.
And we'll do this once through word for word. We'll do it a second time in your own words, but using it as a guide. And hopefully we'll have a third chance to go through it. No dialogue, just off topic, just off script. Okay?
Okay, sounds good.
All right, when you're ready.
Hi there, my name is Sarah Berkan with Keller Williams Realty. I noticed that you're for sale by owner sign, and I wanted to learn more about your plans for selling. Are you planning to stay in the area, or are you moving to on a specific timeline?
Well, I was hoping to sell my house within the next 3 months or so, but it's okay. That's fine. I know I can handle it and save some money too that way.
Okay, and that makes sense. Selling on your own can feel like a good way to control the process. Out of curiosity, though, have you sold a home on your own before?
No, I haven't, but I've been doing a lot of reading, and there's a lot of stuff out there that has this, documented step-by-step process on what to do. So, I think I can handle it pretty good.
Got it. Have you had any showings or called from buyers yet?
I've had a few calls, mostly from agents who want to sell my house, but no actual buyers yet.
I understand, and that is pretty common, especially in the first few weeks, right? Most active buyers are already working with an agent, especially those relocating here. Sometimes that might make it harder for sell by owners to reach qualified buyers directly.
Um, yeah, but I don't know. I think I can advertise it myself, and I don't know. I think I can get plenty of exposure just doing it on my own, really.
And you know what? You're absolutely right about online exposure. That is key. The difference is that most buyer traffic on major platforms come through an agent listing, which means that your home might not even show up as many searches. Would it be helpful to you if I showed you how buyers can reach actual? Sorry, would it be helpful for you if I showed you how the buyer's reach actually compares?
Interesting. I don't know. I mean, maybe later, I guess. That's interesting though.
Okay, and I completely understand wanting to save money on commissions. Sometimes it does help to look at the full picture. If you could net the same or even more using professional who handles the marketing, screening, and paperwork, would that be worth exploring?
I mean, I guess that depends, but I'm not sure that you can actually get me more money.
And that's a fair point. Would it help if I showed you the most recent neighborhood sales, including for sale by owners, typically net compared to listed properties? It can be eye-opening to see the difference side by side.
I mean, it would be I think it would be helpful, absolutely. But, I still want to give it a try for the next few weeks if that's, okay with you.
And I completely respect that you've already put the time and the effort into this, so it only makes sense to give it a try. What's your plan if the home doesn't sell within the time frame?
Um, well, I haven't really thought about that. I just thought about getting it sold.
And it does sound like you do want to get this home sold. How about this? We can set up a quick meeting so that way I can show you local pricing data, what attracts serious buyers, how to handle the legal documents correctly. It's just information so that way you can decide what makes sense for you moving afterwards.
Man, I really don't want to commit to anything, like even sitting down with anybody, but I don't know. You have me thinking a little bit. I mean, I'm definitely open to more information. I don't want any pressure. That's all it is. I feel like I need to do this on my own, at least give myself another few weeks and give myself a chance to do this. But I mean, the information sounds good.
Okay, and you are under no pressure or obligation to work with me. My goal ultimately is to make sure that you have what you need to succeed. Would Tuesday or Thursday afternoon work better for you? Just for a short 20-minute conversation.
I mean, if I had to choose, I guess Thursday afternoon would be best.
Great. I'll plan to see you then. I'll bring a short market summary and a few examples that show sellers in your position have maximized their results. I'll also email you a quick confirmation so that way you have all the details.
Uh, okay. I'll see you Thursday.
Awesome. My goal is to simply give you useful information so that you can make the best decision for your situation. I look forward to meeting with you and answering any questions you may have.
All right. Thank you.
Awesome.
Awesome. You did good.
Cool. Thank you.
So, I have a question for you. We're going to do it
Yes.
again, and we're going to use it
Okay.
as a guide, and you're going to put it in your own words, right? If all else fails and you can't think of anything else, you're welcome to fall back to what's on there, but really try to look at it and put it in your own words. Then we'll do it a third
Okay.
time, no dialogue. That's the scary part, right? Um,
Oh.
but let's do it again. But I'm curious before we do, how do you think you might do this? How do you think you might change it up? What was going through your mind while you were reading through this?
Um, maybe just ask more questions, um, just to kind of gauge exactly why the seller is so hesitant with working with the buyer, because we touched on it a little bit, but I didn't really get a motivation for why the seller was even selling to begin with, or why they're so hesitant. I don't know if they've had like a bad experience or whatnot. So that's something I would probably change.
I love that. And the truth is, what you're talking about is curiosity and asking more and more questions. And a lot of times, people in sales or just in general, I don't even care if you're in a relationship, we don't ask more questions to understand the why, the motivations. So, yes, and there's a phrase out there, and I'll say it here, those who are asking the questions are in control of the conversation. So, ask more questions, get curious.
Okay.
All right, you ready?
Yes.
Let's do it when you're ready.
Hi there, my name is Sarah Berjan with Keller Williams Realty. I noticed your for sale by owner sign, and I wanted to learn more about your plans on selling. Do you have a few moments to speak?
Not really, but I want just to answer you really quickly. I want to sell it within the next 3 months or less.
Okay, and thank you for letting me know about that. Selling your home can be a great way to get the most amount of money possible back in your pocket. But just out of curiosity, have you sold your own home before?
No, I've never sold a home. Bought this one, but used an agent at that time. And but there's a lot of information out there. I think it can handle it.
Okay, and I'm looking at the photos online of your home, and it looks like a beautiful property. If you don't mind me asking, why are you selling?
Well, we just feel like that we need to do a little bit of moving up, and we've lived in this home for a while now, and it's time to to get another house. We want a slightly bigger house with a little bit more land, and I think it's just time to do it.
Okay, and you mentioned earlier that you want to sell within the next 3 months. How exactly do you plan on doing that?
I am reading information about how to sell. I mean, there's a lot of agents that put out information like the step-by-step process. I found this one guy who has a 17-step process for selling his house, and I don't know. It just seems like something I can do.
Okay, and have you had any showings or buyers calling about the property yet?
I've had people call me, most of which are agents trying to help me sell my house, which kind of is what you're doing right now, but I haven't had actual buyers yet. No, not yet.
Okay, and are you completely opposed to working with an agent? It does sound like you have a little bit of hesitance.
Um, I want to save money. I'm looking at the commissions, and honestly, I'm not sure that I want to pay that much money. Besides, I think I can do it. I think I can handle it myself.
Okay. Would it make sense to you if I were to show you a way that you can net the most amount of money possible to get together and give you like a quick 20-minute presentation as to how I can do that for you?
I mean, that sounds interesting, but I really don't think that you can actually get me more money.
I completely understand. You know what? What I can do for you is I can pull together information about how I can put together information on the ways that, sorry, let me restart this.
Yeah, go for it. This is the place to restart. So collect your thoughts. How do you want to say it? And then say it.
Okay. What I can do for you is I can put together information on how listings advertised by agents compared to those advertised by people who sell the homes themselves. Usually, homeowners who sell by themselves don't really get the most amount of money. Would you be open to viewing that information?
I actually read that somewhere, and I don't know how true that is, but it's interesting that you're saying it here. Um, I mean, yeah, I would look at it at least.
Okay. And honestly, it can be eye-opening to see the differences side by side. And I respect that you've put, time and effort into selling the home. But if your plan is to sell within the 3-month period, you would want to get it done as soon as possible. Is that correct?
Oh, well, yeah, of course.
Okay, perfect. So what I can do for you, I could set up a quick meeting tomorrow at 3 p.m. or even on Friday. What day would work best for you?
All right. Well, as long as it's no pressure, I mean, we can meet tomorrow.
Yeah, you're under no obligation to work with me. I just want to be able to inform you, so that way you are completely prepared to make a decision on whether you want to continue selling on your own or just making sure that you are set up for success down the line.
I am curious. If you come over and I decide, I like what you see, you just said that I'm under no obligation. But would I be under obligation to work with you if I decided to work with you?
If you decided to work with me, that is your decision to make. If you wanted to work with me, I'm more than happy to, to walk you through the process and to make sure that your home does sell. But ultimately, that is your decision.
Okay. Well, that sounds good. So yeah, I mean, I can give you 20 minutes for, tomorrow. Let's do that.
Okay, perfect. I will make sure that I have all the information possible before I let you go. Do you have any questions for me or any information that you'd like me to prepare for tomorrow?
No, I think that's it. Yeah. I'm ready to go. Let's do it.
All right, perfect. Thank you so much. Look forward to seeing you tomorrow.
So I really, 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 really wanted to push back there a little bit more, but I would also want to get to a third time too, because time is of the essence right now. But well, the one question that I really wanted to go back to and say, so do I have to sign a contract with you? All right. Because I phrased that about, about the obligation thing, right?
Right.
If you're gonna use a word, then, we could potentially set ourselves up for additional questions. The point is to get into that appointment immediately so that you can show them, there's nothing wrong with using it. I'm just saying, let's get to the appointment, right?
Right.
So, and then that's where we can go over the whole listing agreements and all that type of stuff too. All right. So third time through. You see that little button at the very top that says High
Yes,
Dialogue Freestyle Practice?
got it.
You clicked it?
Yes.
Okay, I clicked it. We're going rogue. No, we're going freestyle, right? And you're gonna either call me, door knock me, whatever you want to do. I don't really care. I'm going to answer according to you. Okay? When you're ready.
Sounds good. Ring, ring. Hello.
Hello, this is Darren.
Hi, Darren. This is Sarah Barkan with Keller Williams Realty. I saw that your home is listed. And you're the homeowner, correct?
I am. Are you? So you're an agent?
Yes, I am. I'm calling about your home on 123 Main Street. Do you have a little time to speak?
I guess you're like the third person to call me just this morning, and it's not even 9 o'clock yet. But how can I help you?
So, if you give me about 30 seconds of your time, I promise I can be the last person that you potentially speak with. I saw that your home is listed for about 14 days. Have you received any offers yet?
No offers.
No offers. Okay. And how soon are you looking to sell your home?
I wanted to get it done within the next 3 months or less.
Okay. It sounds like you do want to get this home sold fairly quickly. What are you doing to market your home?
That's funny you ask. Because I have it right here in front of me. I'm following this 17-step process that's put out by some crazy guy in San Diego that talks about how to sell his house. You
Okay.
know, the first thing he says, though, it's funny, is to work with an agent. But I don't know.
And if you don't mind me asking, if that large process is kind of glaring at you, what's your objection to working with an agent?
Money, it's money. And honestly, I think I could do it. I think it could be kind of fun. Thought about actually getting my real estate license, but I don't know.
Okay. And have you sold a home before, or is this your first time?
No, gosh, no, I have not.
Okay. So selling your home can be you selling your home is
Take your time.
yeah. So
If you need to open it, go for it.
I'll go ahead and open it.
That's okay. This is why
uh,
we do this.
okay, perfect. So it's pretty common that, and I know you're getting a lot of calls from agents, so I won't take too much of your time. Um, but online exposure is key. Marketing is key to selling your home. Um, would it be helpful if I showed you how a buyer's reach actually compares to those listed on the market by agents?
What do you mean by that? That's
So
interesting.
typically, homes sold by owners don't necessarily go as much as those sold by agents. So if I could show you a way where you can net more money and still walk away with an amount that you are comfortable with, would that be something that you may be interested in?
If you show me how I make more money using you than by myself, then I would have that conversation. I'm not an idiot, so I would absolutely have that conversation.
And I'm not insulting your intelligence whatsoever. I just want to make sure that you have all the information that you need in order to set yourself up for success in the future, whether that's selling by yourself or going with an agent. And
Okay, yeah. Tell me.
okay, perfect. So I have an availability tomorrow at 3 p.m. Would that work for you?
Yes, let's meet tomorrow at 3 p.m.
Okay, perfect. So I'll go ahead and ping you into my calendar so that way I can meet. Do you have any questions for me before our meeting today?
No, I don't.
Okay, perfect. So we'll go ahead and meet tomorrow. I look forward to speaking with you.
Sounds good. You know what I love, 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 love that you just did there is there's so much more to this dialogue, but as soon as I said, yeah, fine, come on over, let's go ahead. You just scheduled the appointment. There's no need. in talking about anything else, because now you have gotten me to the point where I'm willing to hear you out. So you absolutely did the right thing. And now that everybody's back, I was just pointing out to Sarah that we were going freestyle, and she did the right thing because at what point I was a little frustrated because I pushed back a little bit, and I was like, "All right, fine, let's go ahead and meet tomorrow." And she's like, "Perfect. How's tomorrow at 3 o'clock?" And she just went for it. And instead of saying the rest of the dialogue and everything else and all the fluff in between and the reasons why and whatnot, she got the appointment, which was really good. Questions? Thoughts? Add-ons?
I was just telling a story about people that I had known from a networking group, and they did a for sale by owner situation 2 years ago. It wasn't completed though. They did some really weird things, including they gave the seller $100,000 in cash, straight cash. Yeah.
Okay.
And then they didn't finish the transaction, and they moved their daughter into the house, and it is just a disaster. So they came to me now saying, okay, here's our handwritten contract that we've been working off of, which was a disaster. And I put it to my lending company, and they said we can't touch this with a 10-foot pole, mainly because of that cash situation. And then Dan saw it, and he said, nope, you cannot help these people. You walk away from this. You stay far, far away from this, because they had done so many things legally challenging, or not even challenging isn't even a strong enough word. Let's just say I've referred them out to some other people who cannot touch them.
This
It's
reminds
a
me
bad
of
situation.
this reminds me of the phrase, you know what you know what you don't know, and you better know the difference between the two. And ask questions, even as an agent, instead of asking the contact or your seller questions, go back and ask your broker. At the end of the day, you gotta ask more questions, because this is definitely a situation where, like, can I do this? Should I do this? Do I want to do this? Do I want to get involved? Right?
I
I
wanted to
mean,
help them, but it was so bad.
yeah, and it's just not worth. I mean, you have a license, you have a fiduciary responsibility,
Mhm.
you're doing your due diligence, you're asking questions, and at the end of the day, if there's a situation like this that pops up, it is
Walk away. Not
this
worth
is
getting
a
involved in a legal situation.
right. This is the time where you walk away from a listing. I get it. You want to earn that commission, right? You want that first deal sometimes. You want that second deal or fifth deal, whatever it might be. But this is a situation where it might be worth walking away.
Well, even in the beginning, she told them before they did anything, she'd give them just pay her $5,000 to write it up.
Yeah, I offered that because
And they said no.
they said no. That was 2 years ago, and now they're in this, in this situation.
Interesting.
Because they wanted to save money, Barb?
Yep.
Hmm.
Now they're going to pay lots of money. They've been talking to lawyers, and
Yeah.
just a mess. Big mess.
Anything else to add by anybody?
Just that this is a timely dialogue. I was telling Misael, I made contact with a homeowner yesterday, and they had mentioned that they're planning on selling it in the spring, but they wouldn't be using a realtor. And I asked them, out of curiosity, why are you against using a realtor? They explained that she's an architect and he's a contractor, and they feel like they have a pretty good thumb on the market around here. And I asked, well, what are you thinking about selling it for? And they said 1.5 million. And I said, you'd be setting a record in the market if you sold for that price. Well, before she even said that, she was kind of hesitant. She was like, well, why do you need to know that? And I told her, I go, well, I do work with buyers that might be interested, and if you're selling it, then you're going to need a buyer to to buy it. So that's why I pushed on that. That's when she said 1.5, and I said that would be a record. But ended up getting her email. And she asked me to reach out in January. So, the door's not completely closed just yet.
And between you and I, Dan, you know how I feel about January, right?
Remind me.
It's too far away.
Too far away. Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. Yes, yes. Yep.
Yeah, it's too far away. So we're going to have to creatively think about getting back to them. But, hopefully this dialogue helps out a little bit. It also reminds me of the term thud value, putting together enough information and just going back to them and saying, look, here's the deal. But I see Dan Hill, before we jump into that, looks like you had something to say, Dan.
Yeah, I got three things. One, it's January, not January. That's Dan and I's month. Second, what you talked to Sarah about, don't sell the sale. Once they agree to the appointment, set the appointment and quit talking. Don't keep going on. I've had guys talk themselves when I share about this of going to the fair, and the guy that's not the owner but is an employee, and I tell him I want to buy the product, and they just keep talking. And one guy talked right out of the sale. I changed my mind because he wouldn't stop. He was on his dialogue and he wouldn't move off of it. So once it's sold, sell it. The other thing I want to bring up, especially when it comes to for sale by owner, is if you're touting yourself as the area expert or the community, you're there for the community. Your job is to serve the community. And the best way to get a for sale by owner off of the fear of working with an agent is don't ask to work with them. Say, here's what I want to do. I've got a bunch of buyers. I'd love to come over, shoot a video of your house, post it on social media. Has anybody done that? Because I want to get that done. I got a lot of buyers. And then let me give you some advice to help you get this thing done because it's good for everybody in the community. Let's see if we can't set the highest price. So I think we need to reframe that in our own mind of my only job is to get the listing. If you're saying you're the area expert, your job is to serve first. Do that. And when they can't do it themselves, for one, if they've been on the market for 2 weeks and they don't have any activity, they don't know what they're doing. The key time is 3 weeks. If they're not getting showings, they don't have offers. The question is, where's their price in the market? All those things but just say, hey, I just want to come over, take a tour because I want to market this myself. If you're okay with it, and just put it on social media on my platforms and get it out to my buyers and see if I can't get somebody that wants to step up. Are you good with that? Move it off of I need to get the listing or you have to read my stuff. If you start getting pushback, you need to pivot to something else. If they're willing to sit down with you and let you go over the data, absolutely go slay the data. But just keep in mind, because I see agents all the time that are, I'm the area expert. I represent this community and they act like they own it, but then they don't want to serve the people there. They want to serve themselves. And that's a mindset shift. And I know Darren talks about mindset a lot. January is not that far away. It's only 2.5 months, man. So it's a month to celebrate all your Dans. So keep us in mind, please. Thank you.
And to add to that, it goes back to the beginning. This comes from a place of contribution, being educational, being informative. And like that meeting that I had yesterday, the guy didn't even give us his business card. I just automatically know where to go now. And he didn't push his business card, didn't push information. Hope that was helpful. I'll be on my way. Thank you. And I thought that was really cool. Coming from a place of contribution, be informative. So good job. Everybody did a great job. I think that's awesome. So what's next?
Lead generation.
Hey, Jen.
Jen.
That's right. All right. So we'll be back tomorrow. This whole week is all about lead gen. Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
All right, so that's the script. I hope that you found it useful. Just head over to realestatescriptspractice.com for more resources and downloads. This content is for educational purposes only and does not make any guarantees. We suggest you seek the help and or advice of your broker, coach, mentor, office manager, attorney, and or financial advisor. Brought to you by Darren Tunstall, a licensed real estate agent, DRE number 018534445. The intention is to provide you with valuable information, insights, and practical tools. Please note that all results may vary and participants are responsible for their own actions.